For years, foldables have been the one category where Apple has stayed completely silent. While brands like Samsung and Huawei experimented, iterated, and refined their designs, Apple watched. No teasers, no prototypes, no almost ready, just silence. And now, that silence is about to break. The upcoming foldable iPhone isn't some distant concept anymore. It's moving exactly on schedule, and that changes everything. Earlier reports already hinted that Apple is shaking up its traditional launch timeline. The standard iPhone 18 model is reportedly slipping into the following year, while the Pro lineup sticks to its usual fall debut. According to the latest supply chain reports, Apple's foldable iPhone is still locked in for a launch next to the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max. And here's the key detail. The foldable's display is entering mass production in July. That's the exact same window when the iPhone 18 Pro displays begin mass production. If you understand Apple's production cycle, that's massive. Mass production in July typically means a September unveiling. So unless something unexpected happens, Apple's first foldable flagship is on track to be revealed at the same fall event as the Pro models. Not later, not delayed, not pushed into next year, right on time. Now let's talk about what makes this even more interesting. This foldable isn't using off-the-shelf parts. It reportedly features a completely new hinge system and custom internal components designed specifically for durability and crease reduction. Foldables are mechanically complex devices, and Apple is clearly treating this as a flagship-tier engineering project, not an experiment. In fact, Apple is reportedly relying exclusively on Samsung Display for the foldable panel, even sidelining LG Display for this project. That tells you two things. 1. Apple wants the absolute best foldable OLED expertise available. 2. The tolerances here are tight. There's no room for compromise, and yes, that also adds pressure. Because foldables are still complicated machines. Moving parts, flexible displays, tight internal stacking, a lot can go wrong. Durability, long-term crease formation, dust resistance, these are not small issues. But here's the twist. While Apple prepares its foldable, Samsung isn't sitting still. Samsung is reportedly working on a wider format foldable, tentatively called the Galaxy Z Wide Fold, expected to launch alongside the Galaxy Z Fold 8. If that happens, Samsung's wide format foldable could already be in consumers' hands before Apple's display even enters mass production. In other words, the market will have already tested this wide fold concept before Apple's version arrives. And that's important, because Apple isn't just entering the foldable space, it's entering it late. Deliberately late. The industry has already experimented with tall foldables, book-style designs, compact clamshells, and even unusual formats like the Huawei Pura X. By the time Apple launches, consumers will already know what works and what doesn't. Which brings me to something slightly controversial. As exciting as this first foldable iPhone sounds, I'd still advise caution in year one. This is Apple's first-generation foldable. And first-generation hardware, especially in a mechanically complex category, almost always has growing pains. Even with years of internal development, real-world usage exposes weaknesses you can't simulate in a lab. Still, the fact that production hasn't slipped is a strong signal. Foldables are notoriously difficult to manufacture at scale. If Apple's display panels are moving into mass production in July without delays, that suggests the design has stabilized. And that's a big deal, because once Apple enters a category, it doesn't just participate, it redefines expectations. The company waits, studies, and then tries to deliver a version that feels more polished than what came before. The real question isn't whether Apple can launch a foldable. It's whether this first model will feel like a true pro experience or just the beginning of a new learning curve. Either way, September could be one of the most important iPhone events in years. A foldable debuting alongside the iPhone 18 Pro lineup would signal a new chapter for the iPhone, not just an iteration, but a form factor shift. And once Apple makes that move, the entire market will respond.